I have to sell this XR650. Start again.
Hello. This time on Crash Test Dummy TV.
G'day all. I have to sell this XR650. I am selling it on behalf of a friend, and I'm just going to run through a few things that maybe you should look at or do before selling a bike. It's one thing that I try and do out of habit, just so the person buying the bike gets a good deal. Put yourself in the shoes of going to buy a bike. You want to know that it's been well kept for, it's been looked after, it's been cleaned, obviously, enough times to keep it in good nick, serviced obviously, worked on by the right people, etc. Things like that. So just little things that you can actually do to make the bike easier to sell, better sale, benefit the person that's going to pay a lot of money for your toy. First and foremost, have a notepaper and a pen in your hand. Something that while you're pulling it apart, while you're thinking about what you can do or what you have to do or what you've found while you're doing it, like I'm about to wash it, that's the first thing on my list. And before washing, I've got to take all of the major panels off, not the guards. I'm going to leave the rear guard on, leave the front guard and leave the front fairing on, but the petrol tank side, the seat and the two rear side panels, they're going to come off, just so when I'm cleaning it, it's cleaner. Oh, I'm also going to take off the bash pan. The engine overall totally will be clean after that, more presentable, better presentable. The frame and all that dust that can accumulate up there, that'll be all back to nice and silver. So the first time they go and get it serviced or even pull it apart themselves, that's the wow factor. That's where they find that they've got a good purchase, they've got a good buy. But you also want to be honest. Don't bullshit anything. You'd be surprised how many people out there can actually read through bullshit. So far, strip down and clean. Inspect and list, fix if budget and time. Third, start sale, prescription or brief. Now what I mean by that is the good things you find, the good things about the bike. Like a couple of things I've already noticed. It's got the aftermarket oil filler plunger cap thingy, but it's got a temperature gauge in it. So that's an aftermarket. That's something that jots down. Also know it's an aftermarket carby. I've got to list down all that, but I've got to talk to the owner in regards to what he's done with that, what jets he's used, so on. The exhaust wrap. Some may say it looks ugly, but I test rode this yesterday. When I pulled it back in the garage, I couldn't touch the exhaust itself, the headers themselves, but I could touch that wrap. Actually, the stainless steel straps that come with it to hold it on, they actually hurt. That was hot. But the strap itself, that was cool. So that's a bonus. So that way, you reach for your Kickstarter, you're not going to burn yourself on the exhaust there, because that's what was happening with him, the owner. So yeah, I'm going to jot down all those things. Groovy. That's the first thing you do. Notepad and pen. Helps for when you're sitting on the computer and you're trying to think, hang on, what did I want to say in the ad again? It's all down on paper. What you fixed, what you found, and what should be done. Groovy. Now I'm going to have to stop talking and start doing some work, because this isn't going to wash itself. Alright, got it to this stage. Panels I'm going to be cleaning behind just for the hell of it. It should be relatively clean already on some of them, because that was me. making that a little bit prettier and a little bit less obvious. This is the stage where we're going to be getting the toothbrush to all these little bits right in there. See if we can get it a little bit cleaner. Get the chemical working. Get the chemical working for us too. You know, I'm sure on the back of this, yep, a lot of dust there. Probably dust on top of the frame. All that could be cleaned. So yeah, this is the stage we're doing this. But we're also having a look at the air filter. See whether it needs a clean. He is quite pedantic on his servicing, so I imagine it would be fine. But yeah, this is a very well kept bike for its age. All the things like the decomp lever I want to have a look at too. What have we got in here? Oh, that's temperature sensor for the aftermarket gauges being vapor. Most people do braided lines on the front, but they forget the rears. Cool. Alright, I'm going to start washing. You don't need to see all of it, but just some of it, probably on a sped up with a bit of a music background. So I'll put you onto that. Now that you've finished washing it and it's basically dry, I'm just going to go over it a little bit, have a look. There were a couple of things that I did notice that we'll need looking at or tweaking or fixing. A little bit of water left to get. But generally it's come up spotless. It's bloody beautiful. This is why I'm saying you clean it first, because all these inside spots he's going to look at, or they are going to look at when they check out the bike. Groovy. Now put it back together. Alright, it's been washed, it's had a good list generated, and now it's on to marking off the list, doing all those things. What did I mark? Yeah, I've marked down all the good points, you know, all the bits that are extra with it, all the aftermarket, or things that have been done. What I've got to fix is, I've got to find the bolt for the rear subframe. I've got to zip tie the front fork boot lower. Loosen and adjust front forks. The front I'm not happy with, the handlebar is a little bit crooked. So yes, I want to adjust that. Just basically all I'm going to do is loosen off all of these bolts to the triple clamp, give it a bit of a wobble, and visually hopefully see that it is straight, then tighten it up and then test ride it. That's the best way to do it. Once you're riding down the street at a reasonable pace and you can get the true straight, you know you're going straight ahead in a straight line, well, obviously straight ahead, you know you're going in a straight line, then that's when you'll know when your handlebars are out or not. So the best way to do that is to road test. Adjust it the best you can, road test it. So that's on that list. Swing arm, it's got a scratch in it, so I'm going to see if I can better cover it with a sticker or something like that. It's from the side stand gouging, well not gouging, but scratching over time, which has produced a bit of a scratch which I don't like. I've got to attach the chain guard, the standard one, which at the same time I might actually put a protector plate for that side stand. I'm going to check some eBay prices on the spare bits just to have a little bit of bargaining power. If they want to really lowball you, then you can say, hey, minus all the good bits. Yeah, sure, because you know you can recoup 300 roughly on the tank, maybe $100 on the guard, maybe $50 on a lower belly, the rear muffler maybe 100, the rear subframe 100, 150. So that's getting close to $500 to $1,000 you can use as bargaining power. Downside is you've got to wait to sell the other things, but you know, you can recoup a little bit of money. Cool. I've also checked the front and rear brake pads. Rears are brand new, fronts are a roadworthy limit. But whether I change them or not, yet to be decided. As far as, you know, another thing on the list, brand new brake pads front and rear. I know the sprocket's not that old because I did it. Yeah, so cool. Now got work to do. Groovy. Oh, the other thing I've got to do is spray it with a can of this stuff, and then it will be sparkling, but the end result of that you'll see later. Plastics I'm really happy with. I used a bit of a scouring pad, a green scouring pad, one of these, and I find that they give it a good scuff buff without, you know, taking the shine off too much. If anything, that can of this stuff will put back a lot of the shine. Groovy. This is going to look really good when it's all finished. And whether I do things like, I may even take this this guard off and give it a respray. Maybe, yet to be confirmed, just because of all the chips. But you know, if I do that, then I'd look at this and so on. These covers you could take off and spray, bearing in mind you're going to have oil. So you'd do it with a service. If you're going to service the bike, I'd drop the oil, pull the cases off, give them a spray then, and then put them back on and top your oil up. And the results of all this work will be in the next video, when you've done all your preparation, your fixing, your detailing, your spraying the can of this stuff on. A bit of a plug. I love that. New bike in a can. It's brilliant stuff. Yeah, that will be in the next video. Groovy. Thanks for watching. Hope you're doing all this and prepping for your sale, and you have as much success as I'm having for now. Cool, thanks for watching. See you in the next video. One thing I forgot to tell you guys, or let you know, or advise you, or remind you, all you people that have the cloth tape on, when you do wash your bike, make sure you start and run it just for a little bit, just to get rid of all this steam. Otherwise, storing your bike, it's going to rust underneath all your tape in the meantime before you go out and use it the next time. So make sure, and as you can see by the amount of steam that's coming off, it's highly advisable to do. So yeah. And this is also the way you wrap tape on too. You let it soak in water so it bloats, and then and it's more movable and malleable, I think that's the word. And then you wrap up your exhaust wet, you're able to stretch it and all that sort of thing. Then when you start your bike, it'll actually shrink and pull itself tight. So that's how you wrap an exhaust, but this is also how you take care of it. Even though that's steaming, I'm able to touch it. That's what I like about this. Except for those metal bits, they're hot. So yeah, make sure you run it just for that little bit.